Now coming to the concurrent list, list 3. Now as the term suggests, concurrent list means there are the items or subjects in the concurrent list where both the union legislature and the state legislature can legislate. Both union and state legislature can legislate on concurrent list. So both are having concurrent power to make laws, and so basically those subjects where uniformity of legislation is desirable. So uniformity of legislation is desirable but not essential. So those items or those subjects are included in the concurrent list. Currently, after this, I told you earlier, originally concurrent list had only 47 subjects, but 42nd Amendment Act have transferred 5 subjects from the state list to the concurrent list. So currently concurrent list contains 52 subjects. 101st Constitutional Amendment have not affected concurrent list, okay. 101st Constitutional Amendment have affected union list and state list, but not concurrent list. Now basically the concurrent list is to ensure a fine balance in relation to ensuring uniformity in the national laws, as well as creating a simultaneous jurisdiction for the states to accommodate their diversity, okay. Each state is different, each regions in the state is different. So in order to accommodate the diversity and to take care of their different regions, some subjects were included in the, so in order to ensure uniformity as well as to take care of the diversity of the state, these items were included to ensure that fine balance. These items were included in the concurrent list. So both the center and the state can legislate. So basically these concurrent list is basically consolidate and further the principle of cooperative federalism, okay. Now this is very, very, very important, okay. UPSC can ask which all subjects were transferred from the state list to the concurrent list through the 42nd Amendment Act 1976. So 42nd Amendment Act 1976 transferred 5 subjects from the state list to concurrent list. They are education, okay. Earlier education, very, very, very important. Earlier education was there in the state list, but after 42nd Amendment Act, it is now in the concurrent list. So in relation to education, both the center and the state legislature can make laws. Then weights and measures. Weights and measures is coming under the concurrent list. It was transferred to from the state list to concurrent list. And this is the interesting, forest, okay. Forest was there earlier in the state list, now forest is under the concurrent list. Similarly, protection of wild animals and birds. So protection of wild animals and birds is now under the concurrent list. Then population control and family planning. Population control and family planning was initially state list, now under concurrent list. And finally, administration of justice, constitution and organization of all courts except the Supreme Court and the High Courts. So any courts other than Supreme Court and High Court is mainly district courts and subordinate courts, courts below the district courts. So regarding the subordinate courts, their administration or their constitution, their organization, everything is coming under the concurrent list, okay. So these are the 5 items. Just note down, it's very important, they can ask you. So important thing to note down is that forest, education, all are now under the concurrent list. Earlier it was under the state list. And we'll have an idea what are the items in the concurrent list, okay. Criminal law. Criminal law, including all matters including the Indian Penal Code. So IPC and all the criminal laws comes under the concurrent list. Criminal procedure, or including all matters in the Code of Criminal Procedure, concurrent list. Preventive detention, I told you preventive detention in relation to certain matters like foreign affairs comes under the union list, but preventive detention in relation to security of a state, security of India, preventive detention, security of India comes under union list. Preventive detention under security of a state, respective state, comes under the concurrent list. Then so preventive detention under maintenance of public order or maintenance of supplies and services essential to the community comes under. So there are 2 preventive detention is there for in relation to defense, foreign affairs, security of India comes under union list. Preventive detention in relation to these matters, security of a particular state and essential supplies, maintenance of public order comes under the concurrent list. Then removal from one state to another state of prisoners and accused person, concurrent list. Marriage and divorce, very important. So marriage and divorce is coming under the concurrent list, very important. Infants and minors, adoption, wills, intestacy and succession, joint family and partition, all comes under. So anything regarding family matters comes under concurrent list. Transfer of property other than agricultural land, registration of deeds and documents comes under the concurrent list. Contracts, actionable wrongs, bankruptcy and insolvency. Okay, so this is a very interesting point. Okay, bankruptcy and insolvency is coming under concurrent list. Trust and trustees, administrators general and official trustees, then administration of justice, that is constitution and organization of all courts except the Supreme Court and High Court. I already told you this was shifted from the state list to 11A, have been shifted from the state list to the concurrent list. Then evidence and oaths, recognition of law, public acts and records and judicial proceedings. Then civil procedure, including code of civil procedure. So criminal procedure, civil procedure, all are there under the concurrent list. Then contempt of no court, but not including contempt of the Supreme Court, comes under the concurrent list. Then vagrancy, nomadic and migratory tribes comes under this concurrent list. Vagrancy means homelessness. Then lunacy and mental deficiency, mental related issues comes under the concurrent list, or mental deficiency comes under this thing. Okay. Then prevention of cruelty to animals. Okay, prevention of cruelty to animals comes under the concurrent list. Then the items which was moved. Okay, forest, protection of wild animals and birds. Okay, these items were moved from the state list to the concurrent list. Then adulteration of foodstuffs and other goods, drugs and poison, economic and social planning. See, economic and social planning was earlier there in the concurrent list. Now, population control and family planning was also added to the concurrent list. Okay, this is very important. These two, 20 and 20A of concurrent list. Economic and social planning is already there in the concurrent list. Now, population control and family planning is also there in the concurrent list. Then, commercial and industrial monopoly, combines and trust comes under it. Concurrent list. Trade union, very interesting. Trade union comes under the concurrent list. Industrial and labor dispute comes under concurrent list. Then, social security, social insurance, employment, unemployment. So, employment, unemployment comes under the concurrent list. Then, welfare of labor, including conditions of work, provident fund, employers' liability, workmen's compensation, invalidity and old age pensions and maternity benefits. Old age pension, maternity benefit comes under concurrent list. Education, I told you. Education including technical education, medical education, university comes under the concurrent list. Legal profession, legal, medical and other professions comes under concurrent list. Relief and rehabilitation of persons, charitable institutions, religious endowments, religious institutions comes under concurrent list. Infectious or contagious diseases or pests affecting men, animals or plants. Then vital statistics including registration of birth and death comes under concurrent list. Ports other than major ports. We know that major ports comes under the union list. Other than non-major ports comes under the concurrent list. Shipping and navigation on inland waterways, concurrent list. Trade and commerce in relation to production, supply and distribution of foodstuffs. So trade and commerce in relation to foodstuffs, including edible oils, cattle fodder, raw cotton, cotton seeds, raw jute comes under concurrent list. Weights and measures except establishment of standards. We know that weights and measures except establishment of standards was moved from state list to concurrent list. Then price control. So price control comes under concurrent list. Then mechanically propelled vehicles, including the principles on which taxes should be imposed on those vehicles comes under the concurrent list. Factories, boilers, electricity. So note down, electricity is there in the concurrent list, but taxes on electricity is there in the state list. Newspapers, books, printing presses comes under concurrent list. Archaeological sites and remains other than those of national importance. Vacuum property, acquisition and requisition of property, recovery in a state of claims in respect of taxes and other public demands, stamp duties other than duties or fees, collected by means of judicial stamps. Then inquiries and statistics for purpose of any matters specified in list other than specified in list 2 or list 3. Then jurisdiction and powers of all courts except the Supreme Court in respect to any matters in this particular list. Then fees in matters of this particular list, excluding the fees related to judiciary. Okay. So even though the number is 47, we know that the concurrent list consists of 52 subjects. Okay. Now we'll see that in how UPSC can ask questions from the union list or state list or concurrent list. Okay. So in 2006 as well as in 2004, UPSC have asked a question from the list. Okay. So this was the question they asked. Okay. Which one of the following subjects is under the union list in the 7th schedule of the Constitution of India? We know that regulation of labor and safety. Okay. Regulation of labor and safety in mines and oil fields. Okay. Regulation of labor and safety in mines and oil fields comes under union list. Agriculture, we know that it is state list. Fisheries, we know that it is state list. Public health is also under state list. Okay. So agriculture, fisheries and public health all are coming under the state list. So if you know this also, if you have doubt in A, by knowing these three are in state list, you will get your answer. A as your answer. So regulation of labor and safety in mines and oil fields comes under the union list. Then there was a match the pair question. Okay. We know that forest comes under concurrent list after the 42nd Amendment Act. Okay, 42nd Amendment Act shifted forest to the concurrent list. So forest concurrent list is correct. Stock exchange. This is wrong. Stock exchange is there in the union list. Stock exchange is not there in the concurrent list. It is there in the union list. Post office savings bank. We know that it is there in the union list. Public health. We know that it is the state list. So they are asking for not correctly matched. So not correctly matched is stock exchange. Because stock exchange correct match is union list. So this is how UPSC can ask question regarding the different list. So be thorough with the list. So in case a question comes, you can easily answer it.